So we're picking up in Meretz Hashem today in Siman Gimel, Sif Hey. Sif Hey, actually, so Sif Hey is a very short one, so today we'll get into Meretz Hashem Hey and Vav. So Sif Hey says as follows, Yizar mililbosh shnei begad biyachad mishum dekash l'shechacha. It's a very interesting halacha. So the Kitzur says a person should be careful not to go ahead and put on two garments at the same time, as it is difficult for forgetfulness. So this is also one of these esoteric type of halachas, where the Kitzur explains to us again, they're really based on the Magen Avraham, other places, that again, Chazal felt that there are certain energies that are associated with certain acts. So the idea of putting on two articles of clothing at the same time ultimately, again, for some reason, causes forgetfulness. It's actually interesting that the commentaries point out that this doesn't apply to putting on shoes. So let's say a person has slip-on shoes, you could put in both feet at the same time. But other than, again, going back, this of course, we reference back our previous shoe discussion to the other halachas that we spoke about again at the end of last week. But that's the idea. So one should not put on two articles of clothing at the same time. Good. Sif Vav. Let's get another Sif today because it's a short Sif. Asr leilech Dal Ramos. So it is prohibited to walk Dal Ramos. Remember, Dal Ramos is approximately 6 feet. Olahotzi mi piv davar shebikdusha. Or for that matter, again, to go ahead and speak or to say a davar shebikdusha. Now, what is a davar shebikdusha? So literally means a holy matter. What's a holy matter? Well, it could be either, again, a bracha, it could be tefillah, it could be Torah. So again, anything that is a matter of what we'll call spiritual import. So it is prohibited to go ahead and either walk Dal Ramis or to speak a davar shebikdusha, begilui harosh, without a head covering. So here the Kitzur is introducing us to the need to wear yarmulke, lav dafke yarmulke, but to keep your head covered, to keep your hair covered. Ultimately, again, when a person is engaging in any type of ritual rite. So whether, again, now, like I said, the phrase davar shebikdusha, a matter of holiness, really extends to everything that is part of the service of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So like I said, learning, davening, Torah. So a person should not go ahead and do any of this without a head covering. So the truth is, this is actually very important, because sometimes, again, for a person, I don't think it's as shaykh today, but it used to be much more shaykh, much more applicable, maybe a generation ago, where people weren't able to wear yarmulke to work. I think very much, again, that situation has, Baruch Hashem, for the most part, very much changed. And so a person will have to be careful. Let's say a person not wearing yarmulke to work for whatever the reason. So a person has to be careful that they don't go ahead and recite any davar shebikdusha without a head covering. And he goes on and he says, one has to also go ahead and habituate children to go ahead and cover their head as well. In order that the fear of heaven, or imsa is fear, translated as reverence. In order that reverence of heaven ultimately, again, go ahead and permeate the individual. So this is actually very interesting, because in general, we all know about the concept of a yarmulke, the concept of wearing a head covering. Why does one need to wear a head covering? So a head covering engenders a sense of respect for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It reminds me that there is something above me. It's humbling, and that it realizes I'm not the top of the world, right? There's something beyond me. There's something above me. So wearing of a head covering is so incredibly important, because it engenders the requisite sense of humility, the requisite sense of hachna, of submission before a greater power. That's why the Kitzur says, even with young children, one should really try to go ahead and ensure that they begin to cover their head from a young age. Now it's interesting, he tells a great story here. As we see Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. What happened to Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak? Eimad Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, Amra la kaldoi, barich gnava hava. So listen to this. Apparently, when Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak's mother was pregnant, she was told by the astrologers that your son is going to be a thief. He's going to be a thief. And not just any thief, but like a significant thief. So what happened? Lo shavkase gilui reisha. Ultimately, again, from the time he was born, his mother never let him be without a head covering. Amrale, she said to him, Kasi Reisheich, cover your head, in order that the fear and reverence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu be upon you. So here we see like a really incredible idea. So here you see again this boy, this man who was born with this predisposition for thievery. And what happened? How did his mother kind of avoid her son from going off the derech, so to speak? Is she made sure that he kept his head covered. From the time that he was young, he always kept his head covered this way, that engendered within him this sense of humility, this sense of submission, the idea, the reminder that there is a HaKadosh Baruch Hu above him, and that kept him on the straight and narrow. It's an incredible thing, sometimes the things we do day in and day out and just become part of the rhythm of our lives, we forget that sometimes even those things have so many layers of beautiful holiness and meaning associated with it. Simple act of putting on a yarmulke is the way ultimately, again, I show as great as I am, as important as I am, as accomplished as I may be, ultimately, I bend my knee before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I submit to the Ribono Shel Olam. And that submission, that humility, ultimately is what keeps us on the straight and narrow. All right, Chavra, we'll stop over here for today.
Question.
Sure.
On the first